devas or somebody in each of these temples to us. So when yogis consecrate these lingams, each of these lingams have a different nature. The deity appoints based on how the consecration is done. According to that,
it is actually an amsham of his own self. It is not like, but it is an aspect of his nature, it is an aspect of his personality which takes concrete form and then becomes the devta of the kshetra. Like Chidambaram Nataraja, his nature has changed today. Because at one time he was the Kuladeva of the Cholas and he gave them an overseas empire, building great temples, everything. Then that whoever was the Chidambaram Devta, not our people. It is our people because I sensed them and I thought that was them. Then it was another group. So the nature of Devtas change. The greatest change in a Devta I have seen in my life is Tirupati. When I was a child, my father used to just walk in and do darshan. Can you even believe that? So what has happened over there is that, of course, they did Jana Karshanam and Dhana Karshanam. They have put 2 yantras on either side so that wealth, which anyways wealth used to flow into Tirupati. You can come here also. Wealth used to flow into Tirupati. But now it has multiplied at a staggering rate. And also numbers. But if you notice, the devtas in charge of Vishnu kshetrams always go for numbers. Vishnu kshetrams are always Jansankhya. Yeah? Bhar ke. Like you go to Trichy and 2 of the greatest temples, one Vaishnava, one Shiva. The Jambukeshwara temple always empty because Jambukeshwara temple he wants only those who are coming for pure jnana. Devi over there is always in the Shishya form. Go to Sriranga.
Same with Kanchipuram, Adivaradaraja.
Anywhere, any Vishnu temple, Jana Karshana. That is the nature of the Vishnu Deva, or rather of his Ganas, of whoever, the Vaikuntavasis, they seem to like big crowds. Yeah? Shiva, cold climate, Kailasa, we don't want too many. So it is extraordinary because Jambukeshwara is way older than Sri Ranganatha. And Jambukeshwara is probably one of the oldest temples in the world. It is so ancient. And look at, nobody knows, nobody cares, nobody is there, not like nobody cares, it is well known and everything. So every time there is an appointee, after a while the appointee also rebels and says, I don't want to stay away from Vaikuntha, I don't want to stay away from Kailasa, I want to come back. So then another person is appointed to manage the kshetra or to be the representative, then the nature of the kshetra changes. So that is what happened to Chidambaram, that is what happened to Tirupati, that is what happens to all these places. Like one of the few places where the Devta in original residence, Kamakhya is where the Devta is original residence. She has always been there only. No deputation over there. Yeah? Girnar, whatever is the Shiva and Girnar, and also is the Nath Panthis, that is the original Dattatreya form, is over there. But most temples, also for the Tamil Shaivas, they are very clear that at the moment we are in Shiva. A Shiva temple is literally Shiva. not symbol of, not representation of,
Residence of.
not residence of. The temple is actually Shiva. So when you are in the kshetram, you are engulfed by Shiva, under the shadow of Shiva. Yeah, Arunachala is looking engulfed in the shadow. So that is a unique thing. Presence of the bhaktas, the great Myanmar's the bhaktas. They are also Shiva. Presence of the bhaktas, presence of the siddhas, that is also Shiva, and the kshetram is also Shiva. So that is a unique aspect of the way it is structured, that you don't have to be separate from the divine. You are literally immersed in the divine. You are breathing in the divine. You are walking in the divine. Yeah, because you might not have the time to do the processes. I've been teaching you all those processes, and then the first thing that came to everybody's mind is, when will we do this? It is going to take time. Yeah. So similarly, each kshetram, if it is called a Mahadeva kshetram, it has its own kind of personality. Kerala temples are all Mahadeva. Tamil Nadu temples are all Ishvara. Both are Shiva, but in Tamil Nadu, Ishvara. You go to western part of India, they are all Nath, or even eastern part of India, they are all Nath. So that means the nature of the consecration, the nature of the sthapana is going to be reflected in the kind of. So Ishvara is one particular, Nath is another type, and these are the three broad generalizations, and Mahadeva is a. Mahadeva usually means Tantric Paddhati. Tantric Paddhati of Sthapana. Ishvara usually means Vedic Paddhati of Sthapana, and Nath means Nath, Paddhati of Sthapana. Yeah, so it is a clue in the name itself, they give you the clue, which is not to say that if you are a tantric you cannot come, or if you are a nath you cannot come, no. But there are certain, what do we call, basic settings where it is better that, so even though I am Malayali, for me Ishvara works more than the Nataraja. The Ishvara part, the Tamil Shiva part works more for me than the Mahadeva. So this was all something that I understood very late in life, because again all this cultural knowledge is lost, no? Nobody says all these things, nobody explains all these things, and all this was just taken for granted. What used to happen was, every village had some old person who was, if not enlightened, then at least enlightened adjacent. And that person became the bank of knowledge. And he would teach the younger generation, then again from the other generation, because this temple, this one small temple has produced so many great siddhas you cannot believe. I really cannot believe our luck that we are sitting in such a sacred space. This courtyard is one of the most sacred spaces in the entire world. Not just because Arunachala is directly looking down on it, but because the kind of people who have done sadhana puja in this space, the kind of homams that have happened here, the kind of tapasya that has happened here is beyond belief. So every time I come here, I'm like, I can't believe our luck. Arunagiri Nath came from here.